Manu.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another edition of Magnus's Loot Crate. I am your host, as always, Magnus Deacon. I think in this episode, I'm going to shake things up just a little bit, and I'm going to branch out and probably do a 3 and 3 just to see how that turns out. I'm going to do 3 Masterpiece bots, a little commercial break, and then 3 Legends figures. That way, we'll kind of see how that goes over, because I've got a lot of stuff that's about to show up, and I've still got a boatload of stuff that needs to be shown, which I already have. So I'm just going to kind of go for it, see how it works out, maybe see if this, just shake it up just a little bit, just do something different. And with that, let's go ahead and dive right into it.
Alright guys, this is it.
Now I'm going to go ahead and have to admit, folks, I was very, very excited to get this figure. And it did kind of make me have to eat a little crow right now, so I'm going to go ahead and bake that into a pie and just have at it. Because I remember saying in one episode that I could not justify paying over $200 for an individual figure. This one was $260. But if you look at him, he is 14 inches to the top of his head. That's not including the backpack. That's just to the top of his head. For you Brits out there, let me take a quick look. 14 inches. Oh God, I don't even know if this is going to tell me the centimeters. Anyway, about like that. Pretty big. Anyway, this guy, he's a big one. And I'll have to tell you right now, the box that you saw first, that was an empty box. Because box and all, and even in this video, I actually had to speed it up just to get it to look normal. Because he is a hefty boy. He's not as heavy as KFC's Ditka, the Blitzwing, which I've told you guys before, he's a brick. But this guy, he is heavy. I mean, when I first got the box, I was like, what? Is that him? He doesn't look very big. Oh no, they shipped him in midget mode. They basically put it, he was Cotton Hill from King of the Hill mode, where his legs were just crammed down into each other. But he is a big boy, and he is a very nice figure. He's very well put together. The transformation is not that bad, but he was a horrible pain in the butt to get to turn on the turntable because he's heavy. I mean, I couldn't even put him in a pose of any kind because really he's just that heavy. But he is a very quality piece. He's one of the older Fanstoys pieces, so he's kind of hard to find. I just kind of lucked out and found him on ShowZ. So, whether or not, but he is a very beautiful piece. And now, you know what? Let's transform him and look at that ginormous jet mode.
Then let's get involved.
Alright, now he is on the big turntable, as you can see, and even then, he was so heavy. I literally, normally I just use hot glue to keep the stake, the peg, and the piece that turns it together. I had to super glue the damn thing like 3 times just to get it to turn with him on it. He is well put together. He is heavy, and I think it's mostly just because he's so big. I even had to like zoom out really, really far and try to figure out an angle just to be able to record him spinning on this turntable. But that is a beautiful jet mode. He is a very beautiful figure. And I do have to admit, he was worth almost $300. Now, I'd spent, the only other time I spent close to anything over $200 on a single figure was when I bought that gigantic Optimus Prime figure I have. That was about $360. So, he's not as big. He was $100 cheaper, but he is definitely worth the purchase. So, I've ate my crow. I will admit, I was wrong. I will spend over $200 on an individual figure. However, there is an extent to it, so at least leave it in that range. So folks, this is Fanstoys FT10 Phoenix. A very beautiful figure, and I love this thing. So if you got the money, grab him. He is definitely worth it.
There's not enough energy in these conductors to last a Cortex.
Now here we have one of the pieces that I like the most. This is MP20 Wheeljack. Now he is one of the I want to say he's the real deal, but probably not. Yeah, I just realized that the font that I used for his name makes it look like MP28, but that is MP20 Wheeljack. Got him off of eBay for about, actually I didn't buy him. This was a purchase made by a friend of mine who got it for me for, I want to say it was either my birthday or Christmas, like 2017-ish. So this was a gift. Thank you very much, Dullahan. Shout out to you for picking this up for me. But it is a gorgeous figure. Now, as of the recording of this part of the video where I'm talking, I've actually done my little Magnus's Farts and Crafts Witchcraft and painted out the nice clean Autobot logo on his chest and replaced it with a set that I have that are the cartoon clean versions from Toy Hacks. So, oh, but no, he's a gorgeous Wheeljack. Now this is I want to say he's a knockoff, but he's from before they started doing the pluses, where they kind of make them more animated looking, as they say. But oh, he's still a gorgeous figure. I mean, I'm not too keen on how open the sides of his legs are, but he's still a gorgeous figure. Now let's transform this mad scientist into that hot race car mode of his, shall we? Now here is Wheeljack's car mode, and oh no, it's a sweet looking car mode. This is made after a Lancia Stratos race car. This is, I think it was a rally car, I want to say, but I don't know that much about race cars or any cars for that matter. If it's got four wheels and gets me from point A to point B, I'm fine. I could tell you more about tractor trailer trucks than I could cars of any kind. But still, I have to admire the paint job on this thing. It looks nice, and he's not really that difficult to transform. As you can see below me, the animation version of him, it looks kind of close. It doesn't have all the sponsor logos, but of course in the animation they really didn't have a whole lot of sponsor logos. It was more or less just, you know, the car number on the side and things like that, just the general shape and feel of the car. And he's one of those, and I'll probably say this again when I get my version of Mirage, but the race car version, all the Autobots who look like race cars really weren't the street legal kind. Of course, you were willing to forgive that when you were a kid because, oh, look at all these cool cars, but at my age, you're rationalizing it. Oh, well, Teletran 1 sent out the little Explorer thing, and it just scanned cars and vehicles that fit whichever Autobot. So there is that. I mean, I might bring that up in the discussion video at some point. But once again, he is a gorgeous looking car, a great looking bot, and as it stands right now, I have no plans to replace him. Of course, nobody else has come out with a version of this, but even if they do, I'm going to have a hard time justifying replacing him. So, with that, folks, shout out again to Dullahan. This is I'm stuck on Fanstoys. MP20 Wheeljack.
Prepare for a daring rescue maneuver.
Now, folks, I'm just going to say it. This is one of those, I want to say it's a too good to pass up sort of bot. This is DX9's D11 Richthofen. For those of you who are German, I apologize if I butchered that. But the reason for his name, he transforms into an A10 Warthog, and that's just Powerglide. But the reason why they called him Richthofen, as I found out, it's a kind of a fun reason. I'm going to pop up the picture of the guy down in the corner over there. He was apparently named after Manfred von Richthofen, aka, for everybody else knows him, the Red Baron, which kind of a fitting name for this particular bot. And as you can see before, the box art is kind of that World War I-ish propaganda. But he is a very nice bot. I like him. You can see I threw the toy hacks, the repro labels on him, which I might be overdoing it just a bit, but he still looks great for Powerglide. I do like that they threw in some of the things they did, putting things on his feet, little marks on his legs and odds and ends, but it's really his plain mode where a lot of the repro labels come through, and you can see I got him for like $60 on eBay. But let's take a look at that plain mode and see what we think going from there.
Vixen can wait. Lion can't.
Now, as you can see in his plain mode here, very gorgeous little plain mode, and the repro labels through sort of some of the Air Force-esque, maybe Royal Air Force sort of logos on him. Very nice looking, and his plain mode's really nice. Now, I tried to find what I did with his stand, because it looks a lot better when he's kind of got that air of flight going on with the stand, but I couldn't find it. I'm going to have to go through and see if I can find what I did with all my stands, because him and a couple others do come with stands, which honestly, if you want to kind of give that illusion of flight, that's really where what you want to do is try to get flight stands for them, which they do look very nice in flight mode, and his jet mode is very nice. Like I said, I'm not sure of the numerical designation. I'm pretty sure it's an A10 Warthog. I know the Warthog part. I just don't remember the A. A something. I think it's A10. I'm not a plane expert either. But anyway, I do know what I like, and it's very nice looking. Definitely worth picking up. DX9's got very few that I'm really that big on. But Richthofen here is definitely one of them, because he is definitely an #1 masterpiece version of Powerglide. Folks, that is DX9's D11 Richthofen.
The Transformers will return after these messages.
A 10-second video shilling myself. Right, well, I think I can do that easily enough. Have you heard of our Lord and Saviour? Subscribe to PewDiePie.
What? I'm waiting on some of you guys that want your ads thrown in here to throw me some more ads. I've only got like 3 or 4. So, ad space here.
We now return to the Transformers.
140 station out here.
Now, folks, when you're delving into these sweet, sweet Legends figures, I have to admit that Magic Square's MSB17 Stereo Master is a really good figure because I like him. He kind of fits the part of Blaster. He doesn't quite have the same quality as the animation model down there, as you can see, but he does look really good for a Blaster figure. I mean, there's paint on his gun. He's got that really nice look to him. Honestly, I had to pick this one up because in some instances, I am a fan of Blaster. I love, the fact that they had Buster Jones do his voice. He was the one who took over for Arsenio Hall in the Ghostbusters cartoon. When he left and quit being Winston Zedmore. But then, of course, they kind of had him do like the radio DJ voice for him, which was great. But just looking at the figure here, this is one of the more interesting figures, honestly, because I do like the way he transforms. Now, you're seeing on the turntable with him, you're seeing Ramhorn and Steeljaw. I had to buy the repaint of this one to get the little Steeljaw figure, which is exactly the same as Ramhorn, as you can probably tell. It just doesn't have the horn on its nose. But they are nice little figures now. I need to get Eject and Rewind for it. But Blaster is one of the more interesting figures because it was kind of hard to tell that he actually was the communications officer for the Autobots, just the way he acted half the time. But they really kind of highlighted that in the movie, and that was kind of fun. But alright, let's transform him up and take a look at that Ghetto Blaster mode. Why not?
And now a nice and nifty musical selection for easy listening.
Okay, so now here we have Blaster in his, for lack of a better term, he was supposed to be like a big Ghetto Blaster boombox, which those were really popular back in the 80s. I think all of us had one at some point. But as you can see, he looks really good in his boombox mode. He doesn't look, I don't want to say he looks precise to his cartoon version, but he looks really darn close. And the tapes, well, they don't really look like tapes, but they do fit inside of his chest, so you can kind of pick, which color you want to see showing through. And you can probably see his face upside down inside of the chest piece, which, put a tape in there, you don't see that. But all in all, I do really like Blaster's. I like Magic Square in general. Magic Square is sort of, I want to say, my gold standard for Legends bots because they are very well done. They're not painted per se, or if they are, then they use sort of a more flat sort of paint for these, I want to say, because as you can tell, he's not really glossy. None of them are really, but they are nicely painted. So I'm gonna take a wild guess that that's probably some sort of enamel paint. But folks, there you have it, Magic Square's MSB17 Stereo Master.
There'd be days like this.
Alright folks, here we have Newage's H1 Flipper. Now he is their interpretation of Bumblebee, and I'm guessing by the numerical designation H1, he's the first one they came out with, which really you can't go wrong with when it comes to, making Transformers figures than to start with Bumblebee. As you can tell, he is really small. He is like he's just right there at almost exact same height as my lighter. Which is a nice figure though, because he has a really nice transformation. the engineering on this one's actually kind of fun, to be honest with you. It's a fun little bee to transform, and of course he is the wee bee, as I always call him, because you just can't call him anything else. But he is a nice little figure, and he's pretty sturdy. Now I will tell you right offhand that gun in his little mitt is, oh, it is way too easy to lose, because it's teeny little thing. But honestly, I really like this Bumblebee. I mean, for all the Bumblebee figures that I've had over the years, he is a really nice one, and he's not very expensive per se. I mean, you can see he's about $22 roughly, 22 American for those of you in other countries who are looking at him going, oh, I might want to get that. Well, he shouldn't be much more expensive than that for you. But yeah, he is a very nice little figure, and he doesn't have the perfect cartoon look, but I think it's really hard to get his car mode to look right without making the bot mode look a little pudgy. So with that, I'm going to transform him and give you a look at his little, Volkswagen mode.
I'll stick that bomb right under their nose gear.
Alright, here we have his Volkswagen mode. As you can see, it does look a lot like the cartoon. Not perfectly, because I think it would be next to impossible to get Bumblebee to look perfect, as it were. But oh no, he looks great as far as I'm concerned. Now those wheels do not roll, unfortunately, because the front wheels fold up into his feet. So all the wheels are stationary because of the way they fold into the body to get that car mode. But he is a very nice little figure. I do like the way he looks, and honestly, I've actually thought about, just leaving any other. I may get Magic Squares when they come out, but honestly, I will be keeping this one, because some figures that I get, I can't see any reason to get rid of them. Some figures, though, I do like. Okay, yeah, I might sell this one whenever I get the new one, but oh no, I would definitely be keeping this one. So that is, folks, that is Newage's H1 Flipper.
Removed and rebuilt.
Now folks, as of the recording of this video, this is the newest Legends figure that I've got. This is NewAges H8 Miller. Now honestly, I've said this a couple of times, people may not have caught it, but I'm going to say it again. Honestly, I think they got the names backwards for this figure and their Ironhide figure, which is called McCoy. Now they could have done that as he's the real McCoy, but honestly, by the fact that they named this Ratchet figure Miller, I think they flipped the names, because I think Miller was like in reference to the old cop show Barney Miller, where the guy who used to play Jed Clampett in the original Beverly Hillbillies, Buddy Ebsen, played a cop named Barney Miller. And I think this figure was actually supposed to be named after Dr. McCoy, sci-fi doctor from a popular old sci-fi series. But honestly, just looking at him, I do like this figure. I'm not crazy about the fact that on his shoulder is where his little ambulance light bar sits. But, some sacrifices do have to be made to get the Legends figures to look right. And he does look gorgeous for a Ratchet figure. And he is, to me, he is worth the price, because he's got the Ratchet look. Now he came with like 2 sets of extra hands besides the ones that hold the guns. He came with like spread out hands and pointy hands. And then of course, well, as you can see, I got one of his pointy hands on it. And he came with an extra head that's got the red in the back instead of the white. It's still got the silver crest and the regular face. It's just the helmet part is red. And then he came with 2 accessories. One that looks like one of Ironhide's like blowy hands, where he blew out like all kinds of liquids. And then he comes with one that kind of looks like the welding torch slash blowtorch thing that he has as his hands. So he is a very nice figure, and he was well worth the price as far as I'm concerned. As you can see, it's $31.99 on ShowZ. Now let's get him transformed up, because this is a real emergency, and we're going to have to take a look at that ambulance mode.
Get him inside.
Alright, here he is in his ambulance mode. To me, it looks very good. It looks very nice. It's probably not perfect. Rarely are any of them exact dead on. But it does look good. You know, it kind of looks like the Nissan Vanette that they're modeled after. So I do like how they kind of painted the windshields and the windows on to give it that, you know, cartoonish look, I guess is the best way to put it. But oh no, he looks like a great little van, and he does resemble the cartoon version enough to, you know, to be there. Now, as I've said before, the New Age ones are a little bit small, but I think you can kind of fake it with like this one and probably McCoy. I'll take a look at him when I get home next, because he's still in the mail. Why they didn't ship him out at the same time is beyond me, but I don't question it. I just get them when I get them. But this is a very nice figure and well worth the price. This is NewAges H8 Miller. Folks, this is going to wrap up this edition of Magnus's Loot Crate, episode 5E. Yes, I probably will keep up with the weird naming, you know, number and letter. Now, if you like this format of the mixture of, you know, couple of masterpieces and a couple of legends, let me know, because I can go back to the, you know, just doing 3 or 4 of the one, and then an episode of just nothing but the other. But I think this might work out a little bit better. It'll give me a chance to, you know, show more as things go along. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm going to wrap it up. Folks, I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Don't forget to share this with your friends, like it, subscribe it, do all kinds of dirty things to it, and I will see you folks next time.